Good afternoon, Colorado. This is Josh with K4CO Radio. Hope you're having a wonderful, wonderful day. I know we are here. It's a great day. We had 2 interviews, and I love the afternoon interviews because usually I'm on my 5th cup of coffee, and I'm all ready for everybody. So, sitting here with Sarah. How's it going, Vice President?
Hi, I am here. Thanks for, it's been a really amazing week. We have another incredible person in. Before we start, I think this is actually really aligned with the guest that we have today.
Yep.
For those of you that are listening here in Colorado, most of our viewers and listeners are here in Colorado, and it's been a bit of a tragic day. We'll keep it, light-hearted moving forward, but we are thinking about those in Evergreen with the school shooting. Our love, prayers, and thoughts are out to your families, your children, the schools, everyone that's affiliated there. And of course, Charlie Kirk, we heard the news that happened earlier today as well. So please love your people, love your family, take care of each other. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I have to get on my soapbox just a little bit. It's just, it's so disheartening to me. It weighs heavy on my heart, and keeping our world safe is what we're going to talk about a little bit today with our incredible guest. And to love each other and respect each other. You can talk respectfully to each other and not have violence enter in. So,
and we were thankfully able to interview a lot of students at Englewood High School at the Mountain Music Fest not too long ago. So
I reached out to Pam, and our thoughts are with them over at the Wooden Hawk Foundation. They are just sad, and they're waiting for answers. And it's a small community, as is Colorado, as is every state. We all mourn for our lost ones. So
very true.
Just thought I would mention that. And without further ado, we're going to talk a little bit about safety and about how important a community is and how our neighbors and neighborhoods are so vital. So for those of you that are listening, thank you for tuning in to K4CO Radio. If you are driving, please be safe out there. Wave to people if they let you in. Those are so nice when that happens. If you are home and have your computer, tablet, or phone in front of you and are able to view, we are streaming on social media platforms. And this is a time I really encourage people to jump on to Facebook or to YouTube or LinkedIn and ask your questions, and definitely have comments, because that's what we're here for.
Yep.
We are engaging our community. Again, that's on social media platforms. So do you want to introduce this incredible guest?
I would love to.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are sitting here with Mr. Durrell Middleton, candidate for Centennial City Council. District 4. And before we get into it, how's it going, Durrell?
It's going good. You know what? It reminds me of something. A year ago, Josh, I met you. And you handed me your card. And I said, wow, this guy's president of a radio station. That is cool. That is so cool. So it's going well, to answer your question directly, but it's going well for you too. So I'm super proud of the work that you do and the folks that you've had on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think the first time we really kind of talked a little bit, it was cold out. It was winter time.
It was cold. Yeah,
we were at
it's 88 now, event. But yeah, it was not 88 then.
No, exactly.
So, super proud of you, man. You're doing it.
I don't know about you, but I'm looking forward to winter.
Yep.
So. But yeah, you're running for a candidate for Centennial City Council, District 4. Where is District 4?
So wait, I buttered you up so you'd ask me easy questions. But
I can answer for you.
You fire out a hard one. It's so we're to the north. It's going to be Quincy. To the east, you're kind of looking at Eagle Crest. Let's say 470 being generic. To the south, let's call it parts of it is Arapahoe, parts of it really is Orchard. And let's go all the way to the west. We're going to talk about Parker. That's the boundaries. Now you're going to slip in and out of Centennial District 4, just like a hopscotch board. 1 second you're in Centennial and a Arapahoe. Now you're back in Aurora. Here you go back in Centennial. So that's our funky little city.
No, it really is. And I legitimately had to look it up because it is everyone votes at a different time.
Yes.
Different structure.
It is very long.
It's
narrow.
Yeah, 15 miles.
It's all the way out
1
to
mile.
Centennial Airport. So according to Google, an AI overview, I love how they say this. Centennial District 4 is not an official area, but a city council district within Centennial, Colorado, which is just so funny. Yeah, to your point, located at the southwest corner of East Arapahoe Road and Interstate 25.
Yep.
So it's very cool. A lot goes on in Centennial.
Yep.
I mean, previously, we talked about this off air. For those of you that want a history lesson here in Colorado, Arapahoe County is older than the state of Colorado.
State of Colorado, yeah.
Which is fascinating to me. I didn't even know that was possible. But
in my lifetime of living in Centennial, which used to be South Aurora, the Smoky Hill was not paved past Buckley.
Yeah, a lot has changed, and a lot more is going to change.
Yep. Parker Road was two lanes in both directions. So.
Yeah, but you're also a transplant. You're not originally from here.
Yes, I am. So a little bit about me. I was born and raised on the south side of Chicago. My mother's a police officer, but I thought she was more like a drill sergeant. And police officer was easy for me. She was a drill sergeant. She drilled in my head the importance of education. And, I let people think south side of Chicago is what it is, but actually I grew up on the beach. So there goes my street cred.
Yeah, the first time I met you was at a restaurant. The first time we all sat down, and you said you grew up on a beach. I legitimately saw a picture of, because I didn't believe you, and I'm like, hold the phone. There's a beach in Chicago, and it's so beautiful. And
very beautiful.
Yeah,
it was 6 of us on my mom's salary, and then my dad was a machinist. He was also a union man. Shout out to Denver Area Labor Federation. We got there. We have their support and endorsement. But so we're growing up 6 people in our house, and I played tennis. And my training came from Yannick Noah, but now we couldn't afford it. So my friends that could afford tennis training from Yannick Noah, they showed me, what they learned during the day. So
nice.
I grew up playing tennis. I grew up on the beach. But
cool.
Outside of this conversation, I'm from the south side of Chicago, and I'm very tough. But education was important. And so I joined ROTC instead of joining any kind of sport or gym. And then I joined the United States military when I was 17 years old. Right after my birthday, my parents signed me in so that I could join a year early. And just imagine you're a 17-year-old going to the military right now in basic training. So that's what I did.
Yeah.
And all of that equaled an appointment to the United States Military Academy. So I went to West Point, where I got to play football there, and I got to box and things like that. And so shortly after that, it ended the way it did at West Point. But I got my degree from the University of Illinois, where I met my beautiful wife, Margie Middleton. And then she and I came out here as early as 1993. We've been out here ever since.
Nice.
Got a great son, a strong son. He's a businessman, and my daughter, she's an actress, and she's also running our campaign. So that's a little bit about me and how I came out here as a transplant. Now, I was born and raised in Chicago, but Centennial is my home.
And it's been your home since 1999?
Officially 1999.
Officially 1999. Nice. And being born and raised in Chicago, I had to throw this out. You're a Chicago sports fan. Which is okay, but you like the Broncos a little bit, maybe.
I don't root against them.
You don't root against them?
Kenneth Lanier played for the Broncos. You remember that name, Kenneth Lanier?
I don't.
Okay, so I'm more of a Bronco fan than you, maybe.
Yeah, quite possibly. I don't know.
Number 76 protected John Elway's backside, but that didn't come out right. Blindside.
You protect every spot of the guy that you need to at all.
Yes, his backside. Yeah.
I root for the Broncos when they're not playing the Bears.
Nice.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough.
The Bears.
The Bears, exactly.
And we're not talking Monday Night Football. This is going to be the shortest industry.
No,
I'm about to get up, you guys.
No, you're totally great.
Let's talk about it. Come on, bring it up.
No, not at all. I feel bad for you, honestly.
The Cubbies won, 10 years ago?
Oh, man, gloves are off.
Yeah.
White Sox.
We have the Rockies.
No, you're right. And then the White
So true. Yeah, we've plummeted.
They're still sold out.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
so depressing.
Yeah, look at me. I'm over here sweating. This is hilarious. So, the White Sox won in 2005. The Cubs 10 years ago. The Blackhawks are up and down. And, the Bears, 1985. We keep talking about the 40 years ago. A lot of fans in Chicago have no idea what that's about.
If you want to cry, we'll understand.
Okay. Give me a tissue in here.
I mean, we plummeted down just in Super Bowl 50, and I'm ready to cry.
I know,
but,
you Bronco fans have a tradition of winning, and you guys are absolutely spoiled. You have no idea what it's like to be a Lions fan.
Yeah, Lions and the Bears they're tough. Well, welcome to a winning state.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. I love it. Yeah. I do also I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you for your service.
Yes.
That to me stands very, very high in my world. My father also went to West Point.
Oh,
and
I think you told me
served.
that.
Yeah. My grandfather on my mom's side was in the Marine Corps. And all of my dad's
massive
brothers served as well, Navy, Air Force, and Army. So thank you for your
Across
service. And West Point I could never survive that. We'll put it that way. That is a tough school.
Yeah,
very tough in many ways. Of course, it teaches you respect, but educationally speaking, that is just amazing. But
respect is massive. But
yes,
you get to understand your envelope too. You push it. You really do get challenged.
For sure. I'd be kicked out day one.
Year. Yeah.
Completely kicked out. They'd be like, drop down and give me 20. I'd be like, nope.
That was the easy part.
No. Be like, do it with me, man. Like, you're a sassy little thing. So, mad props to you.
Yeah, so thank you for that. Yeah. Went to the academy. Like you say, I finished up at the University of Illinois, and they've been out here rocking it ever since.
Awesome.
Some of the things that are kind of interesting, you mentioned sports. I've been in business this whole time. This is my first foray into politics. And I got to tell you, one of the things I'm famous for, I started a basketball team. I'm not sure if you knew this.
I think you mentioned it.
You did, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's the Colorado Kings. And, we started that as a ministry, a basketball ministry at our church. So the guys it's a detention center called Rites of Passage. So they would come to our church, and we would minister to them through the sport of basketball. But the detention center said, look now, for every kid you bring over, we need an adult mentor. So it had to be a one-to-one kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So they would play basketball for the first hour, and then the adults, we would play for the second hour, took that little thing, and we got into the local intramural kind of rec league things, and then took that and made it a professional basketball team that traveled the globe, and we've gone to China 3 times playing the sport of basketball. Now, these guys were CU. They were CSU. We had a guy from Chaminade in Hawaii, West Virginia. Shout out to Rashawn Dickey from Georgia Tech. So we had these were 4-year starters in college that then came, and we started this basketball team and played basketball around the states. And we went to Final Four. I think it's that Colorado air. It's got to be. We produce some amazing athletes out here. Just nothing but winners. Yeah,
because if you can be here and do it, because once you go to sea level, it's like
that altitude travels with you. We taught our players that all the time. But anyway, look, one of the businesses that I had was a basketball team. I think that's unique.
That is, and you do so much in the community and nonprofits. Like you're with the Boys and Girls Club?
Well, through the Colorado Kings, we would mentor to the Boys and Girls Clubs and play basketball with these guys. And that was funny too, because our athletes would want to get into the fundamentals of basketball, but you got 60 kids on the court and one basketball, so there was not a lot of basketball going on there as far as Steph Curry and learning how to shoot and things like that. But you just out there with the kids and showing them that you care. Now, one of the things that we did too was anti-bullying, and you see this even as adults, but definitely in high school. And then we saw a lot of that with cyberbullying, where you got folks online, catfishing each other and just being mean-spirited online, and then in person too. We may have seen that a little bit more with the guys, kind of being physical at school. It's something I grew up with. I grew up being bullied, but it didn't work with me because, with bullying, there's you can be a victim, or you can be a upstander taking care of yourself, or a bystander. So we would talk to the kids about that. Are you going to be a bystander? Or are you going to be an upstander because your reputation is high in the school? So you can say, hey, that's not cool, stop that. Or are you going to take up for yourself, things like that. So we talked to kids a lot about that. not only the kids that may have been bullied, but could have also predicted a different outcome. We talked to those kids, but we also had separate seminars for the bullies. Like, some of our players were bullies too. I mean, so they would talk to them like, hey, man, you're on the wrong path, and this thing could end tragically for you and your family. Mm-hmm. So it's one of the things that we did was anti-bullying program and a lot of other things. I'm just super proud of the fraternity I'm part of too. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, and we have the guide right. And let me slow that down. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Incorporated, and through that fraternity, we not only build houses for seniors, but we also mentor to folks that are in 1 to 8th grade as well as high schoolers about a lot of things. It could be hygiene or financial literacy and all these things.
When do you sleep?
So
you are out there. I am really impressed. You are definitely a go-getter. I love how much you're giving back.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes to the type of person you are.
Yeah, and I work for a living too. So.
And you have a full-time job. You're an entrepreneur, and you're running for office is how I say it. Is it actually, can I say you're running for office?
Yes, I am. Okay. I'm running to serve our district, our neighbors, and get their voices heard in this here campaign.
Very
cool.
But
when do I sleep? It's a good question. I think kind of honestly between 2:30 and 6:30.
Cool. I'm not too far. Yeah, I
you do the same.
I do. I'm not too far off, but man, I'm not out there this much. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. I want to make sure I mention this though. For people that are watching, they can see this on the ticker tape and they can find you online. But for those of you that are listening, the number to call if you want to get in touch with Durrell, if you have questions, 720-456-0562. And I highly recommend it, especially if you are in Centennial. The bulk of our listeners and viewers are here in Centennial. Please know who's running. Educate yourself. Wow. That's also me on the soapbox. What people are doing here affects your job. It affects your children. It affects your family. It affects where you drive, all the businesses here, etc. Your safety. Please know. And I love the website. So go to Middleton. That's Middleton 4D4.com.
And I've never understood why everybody pays attention to national
politics. Yeah,
national politics all the time. They have no idea what's going on in their own backyard. This is your community.
All politics are local, right? So we have in Centennial, you're looking at a possibility of a new mayor. So we know Stephanie Pico is termed, and we have Kristen Sweetland running, right? And then you're looking at changes across all the districts. Right. Mm-hmm. And so you're looking at a whole new leadership change inside of Centennial. And I was in my head doing the numbers. And these are the things that affect us not only as citizens, but, our businesses and the direction that we'll have funding.
Right.
So it's vitally important. To your point, we don't have an effect on national politics as all these national issues that come up. For example, let's say tariffs, either side of that coin that you're on. We have no effect on that at the municipal level. But, we might have an effect on Arapahoe Road and maybe easing the traffic on that. Right. Maybe a little safer path on Smoky Hill Road for our kids to get to and from school. Mm-hmm. Maybe better lighting for our neighbors. Maybe a snow removal that happens a little bit quicker. Those are the kind of things that
really affect your daily life. Yeah.
I mean, imagine if you're a gig worker or an hourly employee and you can't get out of your neighborhood.
Completely.
You might come down the street and knock on my door and say, "Brother, I voted for you. What are you going to do about this?"
Exactly.
So,
completely.
Those things are important. So.
And with that being said, his address is
no.
It's actually public record. And you mentioned something that's tragic about on the national scene, this young man being attacked for his viewpoints. Quite frankly, I don't have radical viewpoints, just to be plain and simple. But at the same time, my address is public record. Right. I don't think radically, honestly. I don't have a disruptive kind of thought process when I'm working through issues that matter beyond just me. I don't have a radical way of thinking those things. I do have a way that I want to bring folks together so we can figure out what we're going to get done. How much of this horrible poop pie do you want to eat? Because I'm going to eat some with you, right? If that makes sense. And this is how I look at things. Like, this is not good at all. But how much of this not good thing are we going to eat so we can agree to get something done? And that's a businessman approach to things. Like,
Completely.
what are we going to collaborate on? What can we get done? And how much do we agree to, like, take a loss on this thing? So it's a win-win kind of approach, or a lose kind of approach. I've been in business with people that are a lose-win approach.
And
That doesn't work.
I agree.
And you've been a businessman for so long. What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to run for city council?
Yes.
What happened?
I'm not going to name names or industries, but I will tell you that a chamber asked me to run, and then I did talk to several members that are currently doing the job in Centennial, and maybe they can't publicly support me, and some do, and they're on our website, but they feel like I can get the job done. So that's this. You do this whole thing. Someone says, "Hey, you should run." Your fraternity says you should run. Chamber says you should run. You should really consider this. Have you thought? The way it happens, it's going to happen to you.
It has.
It has already, hasn't
Yeah.
it? And so when that happens, you got to do that thought work and say, okay, let me ask the people around me what do they think. Let me make sure all the people that have my secrets are dead.
I hope there's no video coverage of that
You're like, oh God,
Yeah.
I went to college in the '80s, so
Right?
See, thank
good
goodness
there.
there wasn't
Yeah,
a
exactly,
video.
right?
I know I
back
joke
then.
a lot, and you guys know me a lot.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you
Oh,
do
yeah.
your thought work and say, can I really do this job?
Right.
You put your team together, and I'm fortunate that my daughter ended up getting the job as my campaign manager. And she's an actress, and she just told me just straight out, don't take this stuff personally. This is theater at the end of the day. It's politics on the campaign trail is theater. So I said I can handle that part too. Now, can you get the job done? Yes, I can do the job. Now, can you listen to what the folks in your neighborhood are saying? Even if it's not what you agree with. I said, yeah, I can do that, actually. I can do that. And those things lined up, and that's why I decided to go ahead and say, yes, I will run for this position.
I love that. Of course, we travel in similar circles in the chamber world. I'm very
Yeah.
involved in the nonprofit world.
Yeah.
And to your point, I agree on so much of what you're saying. When you're
Yeah.
out in the community, I never go in and say, which side of the aisle are you on?
Right.
I don't care.
Right.
Are we here to have a solution in front of us
Right.
and to work together and to be respectful of each other
Yeah.
and to care about the citizens and your neighbors and your schools? It's that, to me, to your point.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting to have people who are running come on, and we're like, do you know, is he or she a Republican, Democrat, more moderate? Most of the people are kind of walking that middle line.
Yeah.
I think on the national scale,
yeah.
it gets more skewed. At least that's
Yeah.
what we are viewed. But on a local level, I don't find
No, not on a
that
local
as
level. In
much.
fact,
Yeah.
I think just regular citizens too.
Yeah.
I mean, are they're one way or the other. It all depends. Like before, I grew up where people talked about issues,
Yeah.
not about
Whoa,
who'd
let's
you
go.
vote for?
I'm sorry, what did you say again? I know it, right?
right?
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I go both sides of the aisle depending on
Yeah.
what we're talking about, and I think most people do as well.
Well, Centennial, we don't have an aisle. We have a long dais. It's a long table.
Yeah.
This isn't like Congress or a national body where you have these people sitting literally on this side of the aisle and these people sitting on this side of the aisle.
Right.
Everyone is at a long table facing their neighbors. Just a visual idea there gives you an idea. And then look, I boxed for 2 years. I expect us to compete and make our points and try to win.
Yep.
But not take it personally.
Right.
And
Of
there's
course.
nothing more personal than getting punched in your face, but then still being able to relax and understand that it's a competition, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So right now we're in the campaign season and we're competing, but I certainly look to come back together as a group. I fully intend to win this race, and I do intend to work very well with the folks that are already in place and the new people coming in, regardless of that fine, minute issue that we may disagree on. Okay, we may have a different way of thinking about something, but when it comes to getting the business of our neighbors done here in Centennial, I fully expect to win this race and work with the city council and get things done. So.
That's awesome. Well, you have 54 days, 7 hours, 4 minutes, and 12 seconds.
And where did you find that information?
I
Sarah?
did. I am on www.middleton4d4.com, and you will know, which is actually super nice
Yeah.
to know that.
So,
Because,
yeah.
every city is a little different.
Yep.
But I agree. I think
Got
at the
that
bottom
countdown
line
clock.
is people, your community, they just want to be heard and have a voice.
Yep.
And say, I'm heard and I have an opinion, and everyone does, and that's great. I think if you approach it to say, yeah, I hear you. And all of us really have the same focus.
Yeah.
We all want to be safe. We all want to have a job, and I want to have good traffic on I-25.
It's never going to happen, but
You
yes,
never
it'd be
know.
great.
But I mean, I think the main population, general population, all wants the same stuff.
Yeah. And then, well, here's the thing, and I rarely disagree with you. I found it different in my neighborhood. We found in Centennial we need more access to houses, right?
Yeah.
So we need more
Right.
housing on the market, all right? The last thing I want to say is affordable housing in Centennial, because folks will say, I learned this term from my neighbor, NIMBA or NIMBY. Not in
my backyard.
my backyard.
Not in my backyard.
Durrell, you're going to put
That's
a
right.
double wide trailer next to my $1.3 million house. So I got a chance to listen to my neighbors and understand their concerns, but also take that opportunity to address them,
Yeah.
right? And say, of course I'm not. There's no room to build in your area in 80017. There's no room there to build in Foxfield or things like that. So what we're talking about is where we can build, getting a developer to work with our city so that we can put a mix of houses in there too. I mean, we can't just put condos and then, $2 million houses. I'm exaggerating to make a point. So at some point we have to start addressing this middle missing housing. And so getting my neighbors to understand, but that's what I mean when I say we need more housing. Our slogan, it's pretty cool and it rhymes, right? More homes, safe zones, thriving businesses like this one that we're supporting, and no unknowns. And that's two factors that I use when I talk to our neighbors. We need more houses in Centennial, but we want to also protect the character of each neighborhood. Centennial is a city of neighborhoods. And so we certainly don't want to affect someone in District 1 because, we need more things in District 3. So,
Right.
yep.
What a balanced approach.
Yep.
I do, and that's great. It sounds like, because you tackle a lot on your website, and Josh
Yes.
and I were talking that it is really nice that you have a game plan.
Yes.
This is my vision. Here's what Centennial really needs. So when you talk about housing, businesses, safety, transparency. So I wanted to go into kind of each of those as much or as little as you'd like. You kind of covered housing a bit, and we're having a huge influx of people just in the whole state of Colorado.
Yeah.
And it's where do we put them?
Yeah.
And we can't build quick enough. So that legitly is an issue statewide. But
And once again, just to throw out there, if you're listening on the K4CO app or the K4CO website, that is great. But you can also go to our social medias, Facebook, K4CO Radio, YouTube, LinkedIn, stuff like that, and comment if you do have a comment or if you do have a question or anything like that for them. But continue with your point, because I do love your website.
Shout out to Margie Middleton.
Shout out to Margie. Where on the top you do have what you just said: housing, business, safety, transparency.
Yes.
And you have information in there as
Yes.
to what you want to do.
Yeah, we're talking a lot of real deep things on just the housing. If you don't mind, we'll approach that one first.
Yeah.
of course.
We're talking all these fancy words about land banking and, middle missing market, all that stuff. Let me tell you how I feel about housing. This is why when we're putting our campaign strategy together, and it's out there for my opponents to see as well, I welcome the scrutiny and my neighbors to see. So you say, Durrell, I got a $1.3 million house. I don't want it down to 1.2. Not in my backyard. We talked about that.
Yep.
Centennial started, I'm going to give you round numbers, okay? In, let's say, 2000. It was 2001. And here we are in 2025. We started with a population of 100,000, round number. Sarah, tell me how many we have in Centennial right now. Throw a guess out. And then Joshua.
Ooh, 25 years later.
25 years later. 100,000.
Ooh, I'm gonna be way off.
Let me see what
I'm
you're
not
for.
I'm not the math person. 1 billion. Let's see, 100,000. 400.
Okay.
That's my guess.
You, sir?
All right, I was gonna do the prices right and say 401, but
I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
Under, over, sure.
I do think
it's
it is
probably more.
over. I was gonna guess probably
We're at
about
106,000, so 107,000.
What?
Our population. See, and so that's a concern.
Wow.
And
We've only
we're
grown
aging
7,000
in.
people? That's
We're
interesting.
we're aging in our houses. Centennial is the number one voted city in Colorado. Number one. So I'm not running on a campaign that I'm fixing a broken city. But when you identify something that might need attention now, because you're looking out 25 years from now. So when you're looking at 2050, we're not going to be able to sustain the services that we need as far as police, fire, schools, snow removal. We won't have the revenue base
right.
to keep city of Centennial number one in the state. So the way you got to address that is with more houses on the market. Understanding that Centennial is not, we don't have a bridge or a wall up between us and Aurora, unincorporated Arapahoe County, Greenwood Village, et cetera, et cetera. So in this particular area, which is so attractive because our schools are just amazing. It's what attracted me to this area. We didn't have kids. We wanted kids. And we knew that education was smart or important to us. So we need more houses on the market without disrupting the neighborhoods that are already in place. So if you go to the website, please do, because this is way too much for an interview. When visiting with HBA or Home Builders Association and South Metro Denver Association, they see the same thing as well. And you talked to Megan earlier today. So we need more houses on the market, but we can't just keep building these condos and these $1 million houses. What we're finding that our kids are between the ages 22 and 32, when I say a kid. When I'm talking to our neighbors, these kids are perking up when I'm talking, because the American dream is to own a house, right?
Yeah.
That is right. It's I want a house. I want my loved one there, and 2 kids pick a fence. However that dream, however it surfaces out for you. But you're buying a part of your community when you do that, and you're laying roots, and it goes beyond the equity and the wealth building and all that. You're saying that I'm deciding to sit here in this community and raise a family and start rooting for the Broncos, right? Have my kids become Bronco fans and not Bears fans. So that's why housing is number one to us. We got to figure this out. There's ways to do it. There's really smart people that have figured this out. So we need a new feasibility study done in 2026. And then we have to all come together as a council. And this is where social engineering comes in and say, this is what I mentioned earlier, what are we willing to do to get something done? Even if it affects 3 people on the planet. There's all kinds of studies that show that your zip code can determine your lifespan, your economic, how you rise in a social factor as far as money, and your education level. All that can be determined by your zip code. And so there might not be a strong urgency for us because we're, number one city and all this, we're a really safe city and all that. So, we can only affect 3 people, 3 houses. You affected 3 houses. That's 15 people that are going to have a better outcome in their life. So we have to get really serious about this and see what we can agree on to build more houses in Centennial.
Okay, here's my little curveball, because I know how I eat.
Yeah.
So let's say you have one neighbor living in 80113, and then the next neighbor, and I am one of the neighbors eating marshmallows.
Yeah.
And
Lucky Charms.
And Lucky Charms and Twinkies for my major source of nutrition.
See where this is going.
The other person is eating chicken and Brussels sprouts and beef on occasion and drinking lots of water. I would just gather to think that the lifespan might be different, but I don't know. I think that's my one curveball I'll throw to you, Durrell. But I do find that fascinating.
I do find that what you're bringing up is the education level that adds to the lifespan. When you're in these kind of situations, you probably know a little bit better than not to eat that way. So
I eat a little bit of that way. Full disclosure and transparency, because you stand for that. I do eat Lucky Charms usually once a week.
Yeah, and then we were talking safety too. So So, again, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about co-patrolling, and not try to get too deep, but we have a program in Centennial that is collaborative patrolling. So we talked a little bit off air. One of the hardest things that a police officer do, or what he's faced with every day. I was in the military. I wanted to come home, and I wanted to get my guys home too.
Yeah.
Right.
And but that was a year, right? Deployment. When you get deployed, it's for a year.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's not 20 years.
Yeah.
So
Go away for a minute.
even my mom, she worked the midnight shift. We wanted to make sure mom got home safe, right? So you have that kind of thought process. What we found in Centennial with the Arapahoe Sheriff Department is we have a program where it's called co-patrolling. And that was brought by Marlo Alston, our current District 4 city councilwoman. So you have two officers that are in a situation that, it requires some de-escalation. Okay, and we can see in some of the other communities where, that would have benefited them. If that situation was de-escalated, everyone could have gone home. So I support that, and more funding for co-patrolling, and it's what we do in Centennial. Now, that also protects our citizens from any kind of wrongful loss of life suit. So we see there's ROI, immediate ROI, again, I think like a businessman. But that's not what our neighbors are talking about. They're talking about lights. We talked about the LED lights. And, we're happy that in Centennial 4 we have all the fuses in. How are we going to straighten out Smoky Hill? Well, that might not be in the budget, but the kids, maybe we can benefit a little bit more from crossing guards. More crossing guards. I know, super boring stuff.
No, it's not. I
We're
think about
talking
this
potholes, man.
I know exactly where the potholes are, all the way on University.
That is totally okay.
I know where they
so there's
are.
a plan for that. There's a good, bad, and great road conditions, and it's a scheduled plan in Centennial to keep those things paved so that our cars stay well maintained, and then we can keep ourselves safe. And then we talk a lot about Smoky Hill and Tower Road and Reservoir, where it curves a little bit, and 2:30 in the morning we love to get our motorcycles out there and revving them up. Maybe a couple more patrols at that hour to kind of discourage that kind of reckless behavior. So when we're talking safety, that's really what our neighbors are talking to us about. But co-patrolling is huge to keep us off the national radar.
I appreciate you telling me about that. I have seen an increase, and everything that you just said crosses my mind almost on a daily basis, right? I'm dropping my kid off at school. Two policemen are always there. The police station across the street. I always thank them for their service. So thank you for all of those that have served and are serving. Thank you for your service. Think about the potholes. I know exactly where they are when I'm driving down University. I know the one on Arapahoe, and you avoid them. And we all are thinking about that because it affects our everyday life. And I thank you for telling me about co-patrolling. I've actually never knew that they do that, but it's to keep people safe. I love that they're doing that here in Centennial.
Not every situation should have a predictable outcome. We can change those outcomes by recognizing what those police officers are looking at. And then everybody goes home safe.
Exactly.
Right.
You want everyone to be safe. That's the underlying thing.
Yep.
Do you want to move to business? Because you're a business owner.
I'm meeting with Spark tomorrow. And that's, have you heard of Spark? Okay.
Of course, I'm a part of it.
Google Spark. And it doesn't have to be as fancy as that. I'm a connector. That's why we're sitting here today, right? We shook each other's hands. We said, let me enhance your business, and likewise, right? So, member of South Metro Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of Vistage, which is a networking group, but it's also a peer group. I'm a member of BNI. Like I mentioned, I'm supporting Spark. Really what we need to do is, in connection with getting more houses, we have the professional soccer team coming in, and then that build out's going to give some jobs and things like that. But we also need to get those small to medium businesses and encourage them to come in the city of Centennial. And once I pull back the cover and get in place, I'm going to try to figure out how I can connect my network with these folks in business, how we can get these guys resources and training. Like I say, I've had 3 businesses. I've never had a small business loan. That might have helped my businesses out and sustain them even further to today? How can we help them with tax incentives and things like that? These are things that aren't like something I want to do. They're top of mind. And then I see how they play together. I'm not going to have a business in Centennial if my glass is getting beat out and blown out every other week, or a smash and grab and things like that. So police department and the fire department plays a huge role in keeping my businesses safe. And then I need to know what I don't know, right? And then what are these resources available to me? Those are all things that are only a businessman can think about, because you got to make payroll, right? So how am I going to make payroll? How can you help me be a better business person? What are the resources that you can come to bear for my business? And that's what I'm running on as well. Yeah.
Love it. Well, of course, we own our business here.
Yeah.
We talked about this last night, and we had Centennial City Lifestyle Gals, and
oh my
who
gosh.
are
Megan De La Rosa.
Megan and Danielle are incredible
Shout out to
go-getters
Megan.
and amazing connectors, just like you are.
Yep.
And it's amazing the response today that people said, thank you for talking about the small to medium-sized businesses.
Yes, right.
Because we're all like the streets of South Glen. That's kind of our stomping
Yep.
grounds where we were, and it's revitalizing.
Yep.
And to your point, that's the backbone of all of Colorado,
Right.
and Centennial is the small to medium-sized businesses. We need the big guys too, of course. But when the majority are, where's our rent going to come from? We need to keep our lights on, and we need to keep it safe. So I love that is a focus of yours, because that's right in line.
If you're listening on that line right now, give K4CO a 5-star Google review.
If you're
Look
liking
at
this,
that.
that's right.
That's well true, and it is really easy to support people. I think we
And their
sometimes
sponsors.
forget, and they're exactly go look at our partners and check out our interviews and see what's going on in Centennial, because these are your neighbors, these are your businesses, these are your school people, these are musicians. So these are the people running for office. Get to know these people.
I think I can move the needle in the role that I am in now, and I just think I can do it exponentially in the role as a city councilman. Yep. Ribbon cuttings, all that stuff. I do all that right now. So it's just super excited for this next chapter, yeah.
And speaking about business, I always find it. I always, you drive around, you see these big companies, big corporations, and you forget that in Colorado, more than 99% is small business. You see all these big boys, but you forget how many small businesses there are out there, small and medium-sized businesses, so.
Yep.
And I didn't even really notice until going into business, going into chamber meetings and meeting a bunch of people and really noticing, wow, we get flooded with big when there's so much small out there that really runs this state.
Yep. And those solopreneurs really, or small business owners, really need the resources and the help and the education that we take for granted in mid to large businesses.
Right.
Just take it for granted. Yep.
I agree. For
But
those,
I will say this, and this is important to mention. Sorry to cut you off.
No.
We do want to attract these. Listen now, we have ULA, we have Beehive, we have Lockheed Martin in the Centennial space. And it's going to be hard to continue to attract these multinationals if we don't have the housing down. Because they're going to be paying more per dollar per employee to get them to live somewhere.
Right.
So that, we have to think about that too. So.
Completely. That's a very fair point. If you're outsourcing, I grew up and my dad started his business in a very small town, and people couldn't live there. And it defeats the purpose quite a bit for many reasons. You want people to stay and reinvest in where you live and where you work. So,
well, heck, one more thing. We're going to talk. We're talking business.
Good.
We also have to have the thought workers and we have to have the talent here in Centennial to also attract these folks so that we're reinvesting back in our community. And we think that we're doing it as a company personally. Silicon Plains does what's known as industry-led learning. We go out to the different school district and teach the kids what they really need to know about cybersecurity. You may not need this kind of certificate because it's already obsolete. You need to know AI and generative AI and where AI is going and how to do this threat and stuff like that. So we do our part. I do my part. And then I want to do more as a city councilman. Okay.
No, I love it. Thank you. You're hitting on all the, all the things that are going through my mind as a parent, as a business owner, as a human being that lives in Centennial. This goes through our minds.
So do I have your vote?
It's I can neither confirm nor deny. We cannot endorse anyone, Durrell. You know this.
I thought we had breaking news right now, man. Let's go.
We have to separation here.
Yes,
That's right.
and that's fair.
Because as we talked about before, both sides we like hearing from. We like talking to.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
If we all do the heavy lifting,
Yes.
that to me that is so important. It's my dad has said that he was
Yeah.
a small business owner and continued to grow, and I love that he has said that to me. My whole life. If we all do a little of our lifting, it'll make the world a better place.
Right.
Yeah.
Whether that's to be something so minor is what I like kind of hitting home on that you think is so small. Like saying thank you to someone for holding the door could drastically shift how that person's thought process is that day. By letting someone cut in traffic.
Yeah.
And what
Yes.
I found is when
Oh my
I'm
God,
in a
please
rush
do.
and I'm already late
They're
and
in a
ticked,
bigger rush than me.
exactly. I'm like, you know what? That gives me a moment to have some grace and be like,
Yep.
you know what? Maybe that'll get me outside of my crazy moment and let
Yep.
them in. So
Yep.
to your point, it's exactly like that. Just tell someone thank you today.
Colorado has that blinker rule, which annoys me. Right when you put your blinker on, you see that car
And you speed
up a
Yep.
little bit, because no, you're not getting in front of me. Let people in.
I have been guilty of that, just to
Yeah.
say, and I let them in. It depends on my moment. right?
Fair enough.
So, especially at a Bronco game, they know where the turnoff is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is amazing. Thank you again for those that are listening. 720-456-0562. This is Durrell Middleton. He's running for Centennial City Council for District 4, which is a little funky area,
It is
which
funky.
is super long, stretched, kind of in the middle
love
of
it.
Colorado.
Let's be honest. All of Centennial is funky.
It is funky. It's like kind of like these different bumps, but I mean, you said it kind of perfectly well. So it's 80116,
Yeah.
80117.
Don't hold me to that.
Okay, so if you're around that area,
Yeah. There's some breaking news on that.
Yes, if you are, no matter where you live in the state of Colorado, we're getting close to voting time here
Yes,
in
we are.
Centennial. So to kind of further that, it is kind of ending the it's getting close to the end. There we go,
Yeah.
nearing the end.
This is the end.
This is the end. Yeah, well, the good end. What is the last push here in the last 30, 40
I've been having
days?
a lot of fun. The campaign trail is challenging. It is. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've jumped out of helicopters, but this one thing is a little bit challenging because there's a lot of thought work. There's a lot of reading, man.
Yeah.
This
A
thing
lot of
is.
reading
You
for
need
it.
to know. Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
Oh,
know
I
all
get,
the inner workings.
A lot of public stuff. A lot of
there's
shaking
a-
babies, kissing hands.
I'm shaking babies and
Shaking
kissing
babies?
hands. I don't do that.
Like, whoa. No.
Inside joke. That's actually very funny. So, you get to read a lot of legislation, and you have to figure out if you're gonna. Okay, so we're trying to fix one thing, and I'm reading this, and I know I'm gonna have a question by SMDR or HBA or Colorado Black Women Association PAC and things like that. Shout out to them. And so they're going to ask the real questions. And like the Denver area, I'm getting to a point, Area Labor Foundation questionnaire was 20 questions, and question 7 was 7A to G. So
Okay.
you have to get sharp.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to get sharp, and you have to read, the legislation
For sure. Yeah.
on these issues, and then you have to get it so sharp that you can present it to your neighbors, your constituents, so that you can present the pros and cons of this issue to get their opinion, so that you can come back and present it to the labor on like, hey, this is your question, and this is how my neighbors think about it, and how they would ask me to vote if I get into this position. So this thing has challenged me, man.
Yeah.
So, in answer your question, that's our fourth component of our campaign.
It's the old rule of learning something so well
Yes.
until you can teach it.
Yes,
Then
absolutely.
you know it.
And then
Exactly.
there's no unknowns. So I'm not running a campaign on what I think needs to be done. I'm bringing these issues to my neighbors based on my research, and quite frankly saying, hey, what do you think about this? Nah, we don't need no houses. Okay, so would you like your property taxes to go up for our services? Well, now, come on now, you can't be doing that. Okay, so here's the issues. I'm going to do what you tell me to do.
Right.
But these are the issues, and you just think it through. Are we going to fix one thing and break 6 more?
Right.
So that's the fourth thing, is the no unknowns. The campaign is great. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm really getting to know my neighbors. But yes, it ends November 4th. And we're going to win, but we're going to be happy that we go to the next level. But we're not going to win without doing the work.
Right.
And the big part of the work is letting our neighbors know what's going on and getting their opinion on how to go. You might see my website change tomorrow, because this is not a national campaign. This is what people are telling me to run on. And it's been holding true since we first entered the race earlier this year.
What a concept.
Very smart.
Be the voice of the people. I think that's kind of what our
Let's go.
the United States was founded on, not to get back
We
to
the people
we
in
the
order to...
right?
And on the
Constitution was
website,
written.
Middleton, the number 4, D as in David, the number 4.com.
Yep.
On the bottom, you have your social media links.
Yep.
You have your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your, what is that? Is that TikTok? No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we got some TikTok
You
going.
got some TikTok going.
Yep.
But
Shout out
you
to
have,
Marcus Middleton. He does all our social medias.
Yep, you have the contact, you have the phone number, you have everything where, you really want to hear from people, and I really
Yes,
like that.
we do.
I like that. So,
Very true. Yeah, I agree. Go to the website, and there's so much information on here. This is truly like the most thorough website I've seen, which is awesome. Good
Yep.
for you. And
Yep.
kudos and a shout out to your beautiful wife for
Yeah, she is,
assisting
yeah.
with this. And
And staying with me, thank you.
yeah, of course. Go home and hug your partner and say thank you for loving me. Because I know I'm not always easy to love too. So I thank my family too, especially my child and my partner. I'm like,
Yeah.
thanks for loving me today. But it is really cool. You've mentioned a lot. I mean,
Yes.
I love how involved, just from one human to another, what you're
Yeah.
doing in the community and chamber and networking, connecting people, the nonprofits, education, and getting children involved and inspiring them. That to me is incredible. And
Yep.
that's my hats off to you. And again, thank you for your service. Like, you're an upstanding individual.
Thank you.
And it's been an honor to get to know you in many different worlds. And truly, it didn't surprise me that you were running, and I got to be, I think, one of the early ones to know when
Yeah.
you stood up, and I didn't gasp. I just thought that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, you could,
Yeah.
this makes sense for you to be
Yep.
running. So, I know we wish you the best of luck.
only the
and,
best. That's
Only
right.
the best.
Yeah, we love Centennial. We live here. We work here.
Yep.
Kids go to school here. This
Yep.
is our stomping ground.
This is
so.
it. That's our
Exactly.
city, you guys.
And I definitely, yes, of course. Yeah, Middleton4d4.com. Again, 720-456-0562. Again, just for questions and educate yourself, please, please, please. And get out there and have a voice.
Yeah, and in Centennial, November 4th. And you know what? If you're not in Centennial, you're listening, you're liking this, find out what's going on in your backyard, in your neighborhood, your city council, all that fun stuff. So, Durrell, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for taking the time to come on in.
Completely.
Really
No problem.
appreciate it.
Yep.
If you did kind of catch the end of it, do know that this interview will be on the K4CO radio social platforms. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, all that fun stuff for at least a month. YouTube, I believe, is forever.
YouTube is forever.
Yeah, you'll be watching this, later on in years to come and just be like, oh, look at me.
Remember that,
You
kids.
should.
YouTube is forever.
I suggest rewatching it. Absolutely.
I will say thank you to all our supporters and folks that have donated so far. I do have a list. I will not read it because I will forget someone. But thank you to all the folks that have endorsed us so far too. And all of that information is on our website. So thank you so much.
All right.
I will say thanks, Mom. She's our biggest donor so far. So
Oh, see, moms are amazing.
she won't be out donated.
You never know. You never know.
You never know.
Moms and wives, and shout out to all the partners and our loved ones.
Exactly.
All right, thank you.
Absolute best of luck, Durrell. This has been a K4CO radio interview. Do stay tuned in about a half hour every single day from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We have one solid hour of only your local Colorado musicians, all genres in a big melting pot. And then, of course, tonight, another episode of Kind of Vague Radio at 9 p.m., 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. with a replay from 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. Thank you very much, and everybody have an amazing evening. Take care.